long time ago, one night of summer season, in one of the old town of the city Pineville. Susan Archer is the main character of the story who was home alone at that night with her own kids. While on other side, her husband Tim was just away from home for the official work of the office. Well, at that night, Susan just finished her all work. She was just going to her bedroom in order to sleep. Someone knocked the door. When she opened it, no one was there, only the chilly wind and the empty street. She was a little bit confused, but somehow she managed and locked the door. Meanwhile, just after closing and locking the door, soon after, Susan's cell started ringing. When she checked, it was a call from an unknown number. A creepy voice told her she should have closed the door earlier. While listening to it, she just panicked and started yelling at him, "Who is there?" Meanwhile, she was on the call. Panically, she went to see her children. When she went to their room, they were sleeping. She relaxed for a moment. She locked the doors to their rooms. Meanwhile, the person who called her hanged his call. The next morning, she woke up with an aim to neglect, 'cause she thought it would be some sort of a joke that people usually play on each other. But still, fear did not leave her and was echoing in her mind. Well, 2 days later, Tim came back from his business trip, accompanied by a new employee of his company, a man named Jared. From the very first day, Jared completely made Susan uneasy. He was kind of polite person, but he used to watch everything very closely. In other words, you can say he was a keen observer, and his stares also made her more uncomfortable. Susan told Tim she didn't trust him. The next morning, she looked through the window and happened to see Jared standing outside looking at the windows. Exactly 1 week later, Jared went missing, and when people went to check what was wrong, but they couldn't find any evidence. The next day, that night, Susan received another spine-chilling call. A rough voice asked her if she knew where Jared was. Susan was completely frightened. She directly questioned the anonymous stranger and asked him who he was and what he wanted from her. The creepy caller replied in wicked voice, "He knows her more than she thought." The moment Susan heard those words, the caller directly hung the call, leaving Susan completely scared and confused. When Jared vanished after this incident, Pineville society felt completely different, 'cause people started whispering about this incident, linking this incident with the company where Tim used to work. Tim was working in the company name Trick. No one ever come to know what usually happens inside this heavily guarded building of Titch Company. Rumors always revolved around government's secret place. Susan tried to talk to Tim about Jared's disappearance, but he dismissed her concerns, saying it's not their problem. "We have already informed the authorities. It's their job to find it." Susan couldn't believe Jared just left without worrying. That's why Susan felt something darker was going on. Determined, Susan decided that she will go to Tim's office and will find out what's happening there. Well, somehow she searched Tim's office and found a folder labeled Project Solstice. What the papers contained inside were partially include human trials, secret tests, and casualties. The next morning, Susan was completely terrified. She asked Tim what Project Solstice was. Tim, who was very pale visibly, asked her to drop it. He said he does not know anything about that project. But Susan wanted to know the truth, but he did not respond well. When Susan forced Tim to give answers of her questions, He completely refused, only saying it was too dangerous to tell anything about it, and always requested and begged her to let it go. But Susan couldn't. She just wanted complete transparency and wanted to know what has happened to Jared, how he could disappear like this all of the sudden. When she couldn't find the answers, she decided to reach to the Jared's apartment, which was located in that building. Well, she searched Jared's apartment. When she reached there, she found it completely empty, as if he never lived there, as he was employed in Trick Company. She thought she should talk to his further friends. Then she tried asking Trick employees to help her. But on other side, all the employees stayed silent. Well, Susan came back without finding anything. That night, Susan got another cold call from same stranger. This time, he warned her to stop asking questions from everyone that where is Jared, and she must stay away from Trick Building, or she would end up like Jared. No doubt Susan was scared, but she was determined. Susan knew that she is very close to find something. To find the truth, Susan followed Trick and sat in the car near the building watching it. The atmosphere at the place was rather tense. Everybody looked awkward. The black SUV arrived when she was still parked at the junction. A young man was dressed completely in a dandy black suit, came to Susan and told her that he will tell all the real story about Jared if she smoothly follows her. Still so nervous, well aware of the danger of her situation, Susan agreed with that guy, got into the SUV. She did not get chance to question him during the ride as it was quiet throughout. Lastly, they went to old abandoned warehouse. The man led Susan into a room filled with monitors, showing live feeds of Pineville streets, homes, and even her family. It was surveillance of the whole town. In front of him was a folder marked Project Solstice, in big bold letters at the top. This man accused Trick of spying on all people for many years. Anyone who tried to resist was eliminated in the process, like Jared. For once, Susan understood that Jared had been silenced, and he is no more, 'cause he knew too much the same way she was now. Susan's heart raced and started beating as the man told her the truth. She knew that she just had to leave Pineville immediately, in order to protect herself and her family. If she stays further, then staying would literally mean putting her life and children in a deadly danger situation. When she asked about her kids, the man assured her they would be safe for now, but she couldn't stay. Heartbroken, Susan agreed. Then that man gave her a bag full of cash and asked her to flee and never to look back. Then she decided she will leave. While leaving the house, she received an alarming text which read the number 14. In message it was written, "Good decision of your life." While reading to this message, Susan's stomach dropped and started thinking it's not over yet. Someone was still watching her in the shadows of Pineville. Thanks for watching whole video. If you have really liked our stories, then kindly please subscribe our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon.